Hello, good evening and great. The Zambian elections that are coming up in about 2 weeks are so crucial that Al Jazeera and BBC have begun a countdown to the D-Day, 12 August 2021. What's latest in election update? Welcome, and I'm your host, Mainda Simataa. Now, in yesterday's news on TV1, this TV station which is owned by the Chinese, and the Chinese now employ Zambians or Zambian broadcasters to make it look like it's Zambian. I'm talking about the Dead NBC or ZNBC if you like. The state broadcaster ZNBC yesterday carried a headline. This headline read, "Zambia Army ready to assist police in keeping peace during elections." That's what the headline read. Zambia Army ready to assist police in keeping the peace during elections. Now, if you remember, about a week ago, I did a similar broadcast where I prophesied. You know, nowadays you have prophets everywhere. You don't actually need to have some spirit for you to be a prophet in politics. All that you have to have is a mindset that can read into the thinking of a dictator. And here in Zambia, we have another Yoweri Museveni in the making. His name is Edgar Lungu. Yoweri Museveni is the quintessential example of dictators who don't only rule but up a facade or a front of being democratic by allowing elections which in actuality are not elections but manipulations, because the whole system is preset in such a way that the outcome of voting, of vote counting and announcing is already predetermined, because the president wields absolute power over the judiciary, the police, the institution of elections, which in this case in Zambia is the Electoral Commission of Zambia, the police, and of course, the military. That's why in all the countries in the world, any government that's wise will always have the head of state being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Because if you have no hand on the military, my friend, the next thing you know, that gun could swing on you and you'll be out in a coup d'etat. Now, what is strange about this decision? What is not abnormal about this decision by the Zambia Army to say they are going to assist the police in keeping peace during the elections? To begin with, let us understand, what is the role of the Zambia Army? What is the role of any army in the world for that matter? And when I talk about the Zambia Army, I'm generalizing. I am referring to the ZNS, the Zambia Air Force. I'm referring to the Defense Forces. Generally, I call them the Zambia Army. The role of an army is to protect its people, its nationals, from external aggression or threats. That is why armies were founded. No army on the surface of the earth was founded to go to war against its people. To deal with civilians, to keep peace among civilians, we have the police. And if you feel you need more power to assist in policing a nation, the police has got various departments which are able to hold or counter lethal threats. That's why you have the paramilitary. They are more aggressive, more armed, better trained to handle issues of aggression, but amongst civilians. You have what you call the flying squad. These people who exercise lethal force in keeping peace and order in the country. The army is restricted to the barracks. The only time the army comes out is when there's a threat, an external threat or war upon the country by external forces. That's when the army comes out. But for the first time in history, the Zambia Army has come out to supervise elections or to keep the peace in elections, assisting the police. Did the police request for assistance? I don't remember. I don't remember the Inspector General of Police, Kakoma Kanganja, requesting Zambia Army for backup. The police has always managed fine Since 1964, the police have always managed fine to keep the peace during elections. There has never been an issue. So, what threat exists now such that the Zambia army has to come out and police elections? What threat is, what external threat is there? Are the Malawians who we know, who we have heard are coming also to vote in Zambia, are they posing the threat? Are the Congolese, who we've also heard that they are coming to vote in Zambia, are they the threat? Are the Zimbabweans, some of whom we know are coming to vote, are they the threat? No. None of these people are threats, not even the Mozambicans. So where is the threat coming in such that a unit or an outfit that is specially enacted by a law of parliament to protect its citizens from external aggression, why is it participating in policing? Of course, the narrative and the framing, and we must be careful about this, the framing of the military coming out is that they want to keep peace. Is Zambia at war? Last time I checked, there's never been war in Zambia. Not an external war. Zambia has never fought an external war or a civil war. The Zambia army has been on holiday since 1964. Some people retire from the Zambia army without ever firing a gun. There is no war in Zambia for the Zambia army to be deployed to police these elections. So what is the intention? And I want you to be very clear, fellow Zambians. I want you to share this video because every Zambian needs to hear this. Because you are going to be seeing soldiers patrolling the streets in the next coming few days. And you must understand what is really going on. They are not there to protect you. No. They are there. They are being deployed by somebody to protect themselves against an outcome which they are afraid of. What is that outcome? The outcome is the UPND, the party to which I belong, winning the elections. And all statistics and polls and everything that you can use to determine or guess at the outcome of these elections in Zambia on 12 August are showing to say that the UPND is winning by a landslide victory. Landslide, something over 70 to 80% thereabout. So they are afraid of this election. What is the plan? To use violence. The cadres that are mushrooming and roaming the streets of Lusaka and the Copper Belt, harassing people, terrorizing people, beating people in the streets, beating anybody they perceive to be UPND or sympathetic to the UPND, tearing down billboards, tearing down posters, intimidating innocent citizens. These cadres are born and bred in the PF, which I've always said is not a political organization, but a terrorist organization. The terrorists whom the Zambia army is coming out to confront are no other than the very cadres of the PF who have been armed and sponsored by the Patriotic Front. So, these elections, we are going to see the military for the first time ever. That's why Al Jazeera and BBC are now doing a countdown on Zambia. I've never seen Al Jazeera or BBC take interest in Zambian election. The only time that you hear Al Jazeera or CNN report about Zambia is when there is a big financial scandal, an economic scandal. Because this country is known for corruption. People say Nigeria is corrupt. I don't think Nigeria is corrupt. I don't think Nigerians are the most corrupt people in the world. The most corrupt government in the world is Zambian, where a single fire truck was bought at $1 million. Ahead of a fire truck costing $1 million, not even in the United States can you find a fire truck costing $1 million. But here they bought 42 at $1 million a piece. As if that was not enough, they went to buy 52 ambulances at a price of over 50,000 per ambulance. The list of corruption, grand scale industrial corruption in Zambia makes world headlines. But now we are making world headlines before the election. Al Jazeera and BBC are doing a countdown on Zambia because they have seen that there is something in this country that is unique. Because we are going to have the military deployed to police elections. And I've told you that the military are not there for you. I want to give you a simple example. This reminds me of... just a second. There is an issue, or rather a historical story about Patrice Lumumba. Patrice Lumumba, the first prime minister of Congo. You know Congo, our neighbors in the north. They are warring people. They have always been at war. They have never known peace. Thank God in Zambia we have this peace. In Congo, when the Mobutu regime wanted to remove or assassinate Patrice Lumumba, they sent soldiers to surround his house. And when people ask to say, but why are these soldiers surrounding our prime minister's house? Do you know the excuse that Mobutu, Mobutu Sese Seko was a banger, gave? He said, no, those soldiers actually have come to protect Patrice Lumumba because we have been informed to say that there are other soldiers who want to kill him. You see how it is? The government sends soldiers to a prime minister's house, surrounds it, and say they are there to protect him. This is what is happening in Zambia. The government has allowed the deployment of soldiers, and they are saying, no, these soldiers are there to keep the peace. They are not there to keep the peace, no. The police has always been sufficient to keep the peace in Zambia. The police has always been sufficient, more than sufficient, to keep the peace in Zambia for 56 years. The reason why these soldiers are being deployed is that somebody is afraid of losing power. They want to use the underhand methods, crooked methods to stay in power. And they know that in the possibility, if there is a possibility of a revolt amongst the population who are going to reject that election, the presence of the military on the streets is going to come in handy. Because let's face it, Zambians have never fought a war. Zambians have never had a civil war. Zambians are not a militant people. Just a few tanks and missiles and guns and display of armaments on the streets is enough to dissuade any Zambian from thinking twice about rebelling openly on the streets. You have seen what happened in Malawi. In Malawi, the previous president tried to manipulate the elections. The Constitutional Court stood its ground and nullified that election. The military stood their ground and upheld the ruling of the Constitutional Court. That's how systems in the country that work. But here, Kaya, our Constitutional Court, they ruled that His Excellency is eligible for a third term. When you and me, even if you have just ended at grade 12, when you read the Constitution, it is clear. If a president has held office twice, of which President Edgar Lungu has held to office twice in 2015 and 16, he's not eligible. But did the Constitutional Court stand for the Zambians? No, they didn't. How many things have they ruled on that are to the discredit or to the disadvantage of the Zambian people? So don't buy this hogwash that the military is being deployed to keep peace. The military is being deployed as a deterrent. Now listen to this as I close. The military is being deployed as a deterrent to any would-be protesters, whether from political parties or from civil society or from the church. Of course, the church can't protest, but anyone who would dare go out on the streets and try to protest against the malpractices or the fraudulent activities which are sure to happen in the August 12 elections, they will be met not only by the force of the police, but they will be met by the force of the Zambia Army, the Zambia Air Force, and ZNS. That is why you saw only about 3 weeks ago, there was this so-called Defense Services Day or Defense Forces Day, where guns, missiles, armaments, tanks, all kinds of aeroplanes, jet fighters, cargo planes were displayed in Lusaka. For 4 days, they were roaming the streets of Lusaka. A show of force was made to send a signal to the citizens of Lusaka especially, that if you try to do anything on August 12, if you try to dispute in a way that causes anarchy or upheaval, you'll be met by the force of the Zambia Army, not just the police. So in this, you see a regime that is determined to dig in power. You see a regime that is determined to stay in power, not by democratic means, but by undemocratic means. The control and the compromise and the bastardization of institutions of government. I'm talking about media, the legislature, the police, the judiciary. These arms of government are under the absolute foot or control of the president. And so today you even heard the police inspector general Kakoma Kanganja declaring to say that he has suspended a candidate, a single candidate. Kakoma Kanganja has suspended a single candidate who is Haka in the Hichilema of the UPND, my president, your president, our president, from campaigning. He only went out on Saturday to Solwezi, flew out for the first time in months. The reception that he received in Solwezi at the airport and wherever he went was so overwhelming and so threatening to the PF, so disconcerting, so unsettling, that they said, if you let this candidate begin to campaign and fly around the country, he's going to swing votes in his favor, even in the remaining 2 weeks. So, the police inspector general, in his usual fashion, he decided to ban HH from campaigning. And HH will be banned from campaigning until 12 August. That's what has happened. Further, the police inspector general has banned any kind of campaigning that brings crowds together, saying no distribution of face masks. Who was the first person to distribute face masks? It was President Edgar Lungu. President Edgar Lungu can roam and go anywhere as he wishes without a flying permit, without a police permit, even without a mask. The police inspector general will not question him on that. But let's try it as UPND. Just do a single door-to-door. As I'm speaking to you here, my chairman for Kamwala Ward 5, the ward in which I'm contesting as councillor, is nursing a head wound. If you go to my timeline on CDE Mainda Simataa, you're going to see he's nursing a head wound. He was clobbered by PF with a panga. Violence perpetrated and sponsored by the PF, carried out by PF cadres on the Zambian citizens and innocent UPND members. Now, they want the military to intervene. To stop who? Why don't they stop those cadres themselves? We are told even innocent Karimanshi, who's been arrested, a popular so-called national commander, he is the one who has been accused of setting that office of theirs in Chawama on fire. Why doesn't the army move and they move in? Because this innocent Karimanshi even wears military fatigue. He wears military fatigue from foot or from toe to head. He wears military fatigue. The Zambia army has moved in to say don't wear military fatigue, because wearing military fatigue in this country is a crime. And UPND cadres who just wore bottoms, military camouflage bottoms, they have gone in for 22 years. 22 years for wearing military fatigue. UPND cadres are saving right now. But PF cadres are out there on the streets still wearing military fatigue. The bias application of the law in this country is nauseating. So, once again, it is not in the place of the Zambia army to intervene or to police elections anywhere. That you must know. I'll end there. But share this broadcast as much as possible and let the Zambian people prepare still to go and vote. They shouldn't be votes on local. Thank you very much for tuning in and see you next time. If you're on YouTube, type Mainda and subscribe for more.